Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us. Today what I'm going to do is just go through a new deck that I've built. I've kind of taken a lot of inspiration from a few Skellige warrior type lists. It's nothing too in-depth. I think for a player like myself, I have reached rank 4. And I think it's going to be a good deck for me to kind of get started on. So just want to explain a few of the card choices that I've made, the ability choice, and hopefully it's a deck that, you know, you guys are able to either take some inspiration from. You can see it in a few of my coming streams, and hopefully it can get us ranking up, and we can learn a little bit more about how Skellige plays. So the first thing we want to do is talk about the ability. So the leader ability that I've opted to go for is Onslaught, and I think Onslaught is a cool ability for this deck. It helps me to get a few little pings on the opponent's minions there. It helps finish them off, and it also activates a lot of the bloodthirst type abilities that are going on in the deck as well, which is really nice. So I think I've just opted for it to be quite basic, and it also gives us a decent amount of provisions. I think a standard in the deck as well is Crystal Skull. I've definitely put this in most of my decks that I've started to build now, and I think the simple reason for that is that the Veil is just a massive, massive boon right now, considering some of the new cards that we've had upgraded, and the fact that locking is going to be quite big in the new meta, moving forward from this 8.2 patch. I think that preventing locks is going to be quite an important thing going forward. I am seeing a hell of a lot of Nilfgaard players out there, so Veil is always nice to have, especially if you can get it on some of your key cards early on. Blood Eagle is a standard, so I am going for more of a devotion build here. So Blood Eagle is just a great tutor, and I think that it's always well worth having. More than likely, because of the amount of damage and the amount of pings that we can get going on, it's very easy to finish a minion off, and to be able to activate the death blow ability there as well to search out some of our more powerful cards. Hemdall was actually one of the first Skellige cards that I did pull, so that was nice to see from a keg, and I think it's just excellent, especially for the decks that tend to go quite wide and have quite a lot of units, especially if they've played maybe a scenario or something like that. It has saved me games. Herald is just one of the best cards in the deck. The transform ability that it gets as Herald the Cripple right at the bottom is incredible. Because this is a warrior heavy list, I think what's really good is the fact that we do get a random ping every single time we play a warrior, which I think is just invaluable. So it's an excellent card, something we definitely want for those round 3s, and something that has saved me quite a lot recently. Next one is Morkvarg, Heart of Terror. I really do love this card because after seeing a lot of these Nilfgaard players, they tend to play cards like the Viper Witches, which tend to get really buffed, but they're only actually 1 health themselves. So what Morkvarg can do is literally take it down to 0 and actually kill the card straight away. So I think it's a really important card to have now. And the fact is that there's a lot of buffs going on at the moment. I know we're not seeing quite the same level of Videx at the moment, but I think Morkvarg is going to be an excellent card to have moving forward. Genode is a little bit of a tech choice. The reason I've included him in the deck is just to be able to have that flexibility of a quick ping from my leader ability, and then to be able to destroy any damaged unit, and I think that's going to be quite important moving forward. Kadoosh is an amazing location. I especially like playing this on my 3rd rounds, when we can actually play things like the Bear Witch Mentor. If our opponent, for example, has got quite a lot of damage on some of his units, ours have got a fair few bits of damage, you can actually get a really nice 10+ Bear Witcher Mentor from there, which is really nice. So I do love that, actually. I really do. I think it's a great ability to have, and a great unit to be able to pull out of there. And just healing for 2 is super useful as well, especially with some of the other cards that we've got going on. Skordal is great for your final round. I just love the fact that he can just punch something in the face, which is really nice, and he just continues to grow, so that's pretty much a standard. And Vabion is actually a really good card that I've got here. You can see that I'm not running Ceres von Krayt. I'm actually going for Vabion and using his ability to sort of thin out the deck a little bit. So ideally Vabion, what he will do is he'll pull a raid card. The raid card that we tend to opt for is Raiding Fleet, and of course Raiding Fleet then pulls a bronze ship from our deck, so assuming there is still one there, then it does help us thin out by 2 cards, which I think is really nice, to be fair, because we've got some excellent cards up at the top end here, which I think is really important. Champion's Charge, I know a lot of people haven't ran this for a while now. People are taking it out of the deck. I just think it's super useful to be able to get past shields and, you know, to just hit absolutely anything. And especially because this is a devotion-based deck, we want to get a lot of the benefits of having, you know, Harold and a few of the other cards when it comes to devotion. So I think it's really important that we do have some hard removal, and I think that this fulfills that really well. Raiding Fleet we've already talked about. Jenga is very much a tech choice. Obviously locks are a big thing. His provision at the moment has been reduced down from, I believe it was 7 to 6, which makes it a lot more playable. It's a 7 power card anyway, which is great, and I think that some locks are really important. The amount of times that I've managed to catch off a Griffin Witcher, for example, is key, and I think that's been really useful for me personally. Once again, I know that this deck isn't going to be the optimal deck that all the top players are playing. It's just working for me right now, and I kind of want to experiment and learn a little bit about how to improve it. The next card that I want to go to, actually, is the Uncrate Greatsword. So the reason I've opted for the Greatsword instead of, say, for example, the Bear Witcher #1, it is a warrior, which is important, and then also it does heal itself after all the pings, and because we've got so many pings in the deck, it's just a nice big unit to have. I know I haven't got the other Uncrate card that will pull it from the bin and hit something for 10, but it's just a really nice card to have, especially for some of those later rounds if I've got a few cards. Stunning Blow has been great. That's really helped sometimes to get across those Keldars that have got the 5 health and 1 armor, so that's great and perfect for a 6. The Light Longship has been great in terms of just getting those pings off. Actually really good if you can heal it with the Kadusha as well, but it's nice just to have that utility, and a cooldown of 1 is absolutely excellent, so I really do like that. And Zeal. The Uncrate Longship, that tends to be what we buff with our Crystal Skull. Keep it on the board at the start of a round, and it does a lot of work for us. And the Uncrate Raiders as well, which just continue to grow, so what we'll be able to do is use Harold Uncrate to grab those from the bin, and usually that results in them being able to do, #1, 2 damage straight away, and then also there are 6 power as well, so I really love these guys. They've been doing a hell of a lot of work. The next card is the Gutting Slashers, which I think are just great. Bloodthirst 2 isn't a lot to ask for. It's only a 4 provision card, and it can potentially do 6 damage, which is really good. It seems to be a really strong damage threshold to be just above 5. The Brockvar Hunter, which is just a great card anyway. Obviously, it's had a bit of a change where now it can only be in the ranged area, but I'm really happy with this card, and it has proven to be really, really good in some of those longer rounds where you can just continuously get a ping. And very lastly, the Uncrate Marauder. Nothing too special, but I quite like the ability to just throw him down, especially if our opponent's attempting to bleed us, and we can get a few bloodthirst picks going on, and obviously with that, you know, activate some of our stronger cards. So really happy with the deck so far. I know that there's a few changes that I can make down the line. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more going on in the next few days, but I definitely want to show you guys exactly where it is I'm at. Hopefully this is a deck that you're going to be seeing on my YouTube videos, on my streams. If you've got any suggestions for me, any tech choices that you think are going to be useful, whether it's from the other videos or from this one, please let me know. But thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the continued support. I'm loving it. Game is going great so far. Not quite hit the point where I'm sick of anything yet, so that's really good. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.